Hey guys, Yurichima-san back at it with another video, and today we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2, a game that I truly didn't think I was going to look at because of my experience with Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but two things happened when I released that video. One, usually I kind of make little snippets of my YouTube videos and I put them on YouTube Shorts, and I also put them on my TikTok channel, which by the way, if you want to follow me on TikTok, Yurichima-san. And both shorts, both the TikTok and the YouTube short, did really well. We're talking like thousands of views and a bunch of comments, and all the comments basically said the same thing. Try Sonic 2. Sonic 1 is like an okay game, but Sonic 2 is a lot better. So that was the first reason why I'm making this video. But the second reason is because I actually tried it. I tried it. On a day off of work, I was sitting there on my couch and I was like, you know what? Let me just try Sonic 2 because maybe it is, a great game or whatever, and I'm missing out. And hey, I didn't make any promises about making a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 video, so what's the harm, right? And well, I tried it. I turned on my Switch, played the Sonic Origins collection, put Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on, and I beat it in one sitting. I beat it in one sitting. I wasn't expecting to do that. Like I sat down, I tried the first couple zones, and I just couldn't put the game down. And it got to a point where my girlfriend got home and she was like, "Are you still playing that game?" Because she called me during her break, and I was like, "Yeah, I still am." And it was really fun. It was really fun seeing her, like, her reaction to my reactions to certain things, and God bless her soul, and I'll explain why. But basically, I played Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I just felt like I needed to talk about this game because, although the video I just posted, right, my last video, I should say, playing Sonic the Hedgehog 1 for the first time, was well received by TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and my YouTube video in general, I felt bad about playing the game and just not loving it as much as I really would have liked. And, my whole plan was just to try that out and then go straight into 3D Sonic. But after playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I'm actually excited to try out the other classic Sonic games, Sonic CD and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And, well, that's already probably letting you know what I think about this game, but just like I did in the last video, I'm going to talk about each zone, give my perspective of that, and then give my overall opinions of the game at the very end. So join me in this kind of like this love fest for a game that I truly didn't think was going to be all that in a bag of chips. So the first zone we got to talk about is Emerald Zone, right? That is the first zone of the game, and honestly, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and the music is so good. Now, one thing I will tell you guys is that I have played Emerald Zone and Chemical Plant Zone. They're the only two Sonic 2 stages I've played because when I was a little kid, I couldn't get past Chemical Plant. And I'll get into that once we talk about Chemical Plant, but I remember even as a kid loving this zone, and I honestly thought that this was Green Hill Zone, but obviously it is not. It is Emerald Zone, but the song was so familiar, and I think they have this song in Smash Brothers and all that, so I've always listened to it, but hearing it again just reminded me like how amazing like I thought that track was. But not only that, the zone itself, a lot of fun. It's the first zone, so obviously everything is gonna be pretty easy. One thing that I realized was that it was only two acts. I think it's what they call 2 acts. So the last game, there was 3 zones or 3 acts. This game only had 2. So that was definitely cool because it kind of like broke the pace down a little bit better, having like a whole level and then a level / boss at the end. I thought it felt better than Sonic 1 because Sonic 1 was just like 3 levels, and then the third level usually was like a really long level with a boss at the end. One thing like off the bat too that we should talk about is Tails. This game introduces Tails, and I do remember Tails obviously because, well, this is introduction, and 2, my brother, I remember playing this game when I was young and having my brother play as Tails, and he hated it. I also felt bad because, as you try it out yourself, Sonic is so fast and he like bypasses Tails so quickly. So the second player never really gets to play, but I wanted my brother to help me because I was struggling a lot as a 9-10-year-old kid going against Eggman on the first and second boss zones here, and that's like my main memory of Tails. Also, like him being able to carry you, because he could fly. That's his whole thing. I thought that was like cool when I was young, like, oh, help me up, bro. But it never worked out. We still lost like everything because the old games had lives. While I'm playing the Origins collection, which has unlimited lives, so we would always have to start all over. We just never could make it work. But I just wanted to mention Tails because he is this is his introduction game, and you know, without this game, there's no Tails. So that's a cool thing. Basically, Emerald Zone was very fun, very great introduction. I knew going into the game that like the first level was going to be fine. So, and that's kind of what the whole thing was. I was like, let me just try the first couple of zones. And why I say couple of zones is because, well, the next zone here. And just like I alluded to it before, Chemical Plant Zone was a zone that I hated as a child. I could not get past this level as a little kid. If you've played the zone, you know the anxiety you get with the water rising up, with the blocks, and how you have to do your perfect time jumps. Not only that, but some of the blocks can like kind of squish you and you auto died. And again, the old school Sonic the Hedgehog 2 had lives, so I would die here a lot and just have to start the game over. And it was never a good time. It was never a good time. But one thing I do love about Chemical Plant, and there's a lot of things, honestly. One is the music. I think the music of Chemical Plant Zone is amazing. This zone I have played through in Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania, and every single time I play it, I always say the same thing. This is one of my favorite Sonic tracks of all time. I just love Chemical Plant Zone's like music. It's just so good. The level itself is gorgeous. I just think it's such a nice level. It was just, as a kid, extremely difficult. So for me, but as playing as an adult now, I was like nervous because I'm like, I could do this, right? And lo and behold, I was able to do it. It wasn't as challenging at all, but it was cool. It was cool, like doing it for young Yorochima-san here. Like, I'm gonna beat this for you, little bro, and I did. It's actually very easy. Again, I was young, so I had no sauce whatsoever. But overall, the zone itself, really cool zone, really easy zone. The music, like I said, is just amazing. The boss fight was interesting for this one. It was like the panels would move, and then like you would be instantly dead if you fall through the panels, even though like Sonic can swim a little bit, I think, here. But you know, overall the zone was pretty chill. I still got my anxiety when I had to do the whole climbing up and not drowning while the blocks were moving. I still had my, you know, my butt was clenched during that part. But honestly, pretty easy zone, pretty chill zone, nothing too crazy. I ended up enjoying it a lot, and once I finally beat it, it was like everything was going to be new for me. So let's go straight into Aquatic Ruin. I never seen this before. You know, this was all, like I said, this was all new to me. I never played this zone before. Now I know that I was going to unmarked territory or uncharted territory, and right off the bat, music again, phenomenal. And honestly, I wrote here in my notes that it might have been my favorite track at that point. Even though I love Chemical Plant Zone and I love Emerald Zone, the music there, I really like the music here in Aquatic Ruin. It was so good. Something about it just stayed with me, and it's another one of those where I'm like, well, I'm gonna listen to this outside of work or outside of recording YouTube videos. I think I really fell in love with this track. The speed here is better utilized. Obviously, like Chemical Plant Zone, I kind of took it easy because, well, I was worried about, you know, drowning or failing or going through the water and not having a good time. But here I feel like the speed was a big factor of the level, so which was great, which I was very happy about. The arrows were very annoying. I think like it was really it caught me off guard because I was like, where are they coming from? And they're like on this little tiny like Eggman statue kind of thing, tower, where like he just opens his mouth and it just like an arrow comes out. So I would have gone through the whole level without being touched because I was doing really good, but then I took an arrow to the knee, so that wasn't good. The boss was very easy. My problem here, so I guess like a little critique here off the bat, is that just like Sonic 1, this game, the bosses take a lot of hits. Wasn't a fan of that. You know, and it was very some of the bosses were very scripted, and we'll get more into that towards the second half of the game here, but I just didn't like that sometimes you just like had to wait. Like you couldn't really sauce too many of the enemies here. Like you just, I missed my time and now I gotta wait until, you know, Eggman does something so I can have the opportunity to hit him again. I know that's like games 101, but I don't know, for this game it had its moments where I'm like, it's kind of lame, but I'll just wait until I have an opening, and that's kind of what happened. But overall, pretty great zone. I thought the music was great. The graphics, I guess I could say off the bat, the graphics look so much better in this game than Sonic 1, which is insane because I think this game only came out, what, like 2 years after Sonic the Hedgehog? I don't know if they came out on the same consoles or anything, because again, I don't know too much about the OG Sonic games, but it was very obvious that the music and the production values in general were a lot better in Sonic 2. So overall, great zone, and you know, so far so good. This was there was no deal breakers just yet, because in Sonic 1, the second zone, Marble Zone, immediately was like, oh, I might not like this game, but at this point I'm still having a good time. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is 3 zones. I don't know how many 3 acts. I don't know how many acts there are in this game, but I'm having fun so far. This is a good time so far. And so we kept going. The next level was Casino Night, and just like real life, I am horrible at gambling, including in this game. I never got lucky during any of these like sections where you have to go inside the slot machines and get like either Tails or Eggman or Sonic. I always got Eggman, or just nothing much in general like happening for me. This zone was really cool. I love the aesthetics of it. The music was pretty good too. I think this is the first casino level in Sonic history, I'm gonna assume here, because there was no casino level in Sonic 1, and then here's a casino level here. There was also a lot of like pinball mechanics, which I know Sonic or Sega or whatever like eventually fall in love with pinball or something, because Sonic just has this hard on for pinball. There's even like a Sonic pinball game. So I guess like, I don't know if this was like well received back in the day and everyone loved this zone, or Sega just had a good time making it, that they were like, Sonic games moving forward, we'll have casinos and we will have a pinball game for like every Sonic game, or just like allude to pinball somehow, or give a homage to pinball. So you know, pretty cool zone overall. There was a one thing that was like very tricky with it, which was like this big square that would go up and down. Sometimes, like, I don't know why, I would just get crushed and die immediately. I just was not timing things proper, and like I said, I wasn't really lucky with a lot of like the casino parts, right? Like the gambling parts, quote unquote. And I don't know, it was like an overall like good zone. It wasn't my favorite zone, but it wasn't a bad zone. It wasn't like a red flag type of zone. The number one thing I remember about this one was the hilariousness of Tails, because during the final boss fight for the zone, he was cooking Eggman up, bro. I was struggling because you had to use the level to get towards Eggman and hit Eggman. Tails said fuck all that noise, and he just kept plugging him up without my help. So I thought that was pretty funny. I was like finding that hilarious. I'm like struggling just to get up there, and Tails is like, I got you, little bro, and he was just doing his thing and just fucking up Eggman to the point where I think he even got the final hit, which was really funny. But overall, Casino Night, pretty good zone. I'm assuming they cooked here because this becomes like a staple for Sonic for so long. So I'm gonna assume it landed well for people. It was like just a good zone. Hilltop Zone, this was an interesting zone. So some things about Sonic 1 that I didn't like was Marble Zone, right? That was like very obvious. I did not like Marble Zone whatsoever. And this one looks kind of like it. And I don't know if they were like doing that on purpose or whatever, but playing through the levels, I was like, oh no. Because, you know, you had the lava, you had the levels going up and down. There was a lot here. Even the boss fight with Eggman was a reference to Marble Zone, in my opinion. It was like almost the same exact fight. So I don't know if it was like a cheeky kind of thing, or if they were just giving homage to their old game, even though it was only like 2 years old. At first, I was a little nervous about this zone, because I'm like, oh no, here it comes. Here comes the zone that's gonna make me like hate this game. But no, believe it or not, I ended up thinking this was like one of my favorite levels. I love the challenge of it, even with like the weird things that they do in this, like some of the like insta-death moments. I thought it was completely fine. Like the challenge of it was really good, and it was fair. And that's the thing, it was fair. Like sometimes with some of these older games, like they throw things at you just to like kill you, just so you can feel like the game has crazy challenge, even though it's kind of like bullshit. This game, or this level, didn't feel that way. It felt pretty fair. Again, the music was phenomenal, and I guess we're at the halfway point here. I believe I can just say right off the bat, this is some of the best music in Sonic history. I'm very disappointed in myself for not hearing most of the soundtrack throughout my life. I am 30 years old, but I am learning that as I play through this game, that the music in Sonic 2 just stands out so much more compared to Sonic 1. What I thought with Sonic 1 was pretty, good and not super memorable, but has some, classics in there. This one so far has been bangers after bangers after bangers. The main classic one for me would be Chemical Plant. The other zones I don't remember hearing much before, but they are definitely sticking with me. And it's getting to the point where I'm trying to download some of the music for my own personal life, because I just think the music is that good. I don't know. This zone really opened up my eyes and was like, man, Sonic 2 so far isn't just a fun game to play for a video. It's just a fun game in general to play on my day off. And that's where things started to really click for me and started to cook for me. But overall, I think this zone was actually really, really fun. I don't know, again, I was just shocked because they even had the ground closing in, they had the lava, they just had things that I didn't like in Sonic 1, but maybe because this was the 5th level or whatever, and I knew difficulty has to start wrapping up at some point, it felt more organic compared to Marble Zone, where it's Green Hill Zone was done in 2 minutes, and now we're gonna throw you these crazy platforms, right? And it's nothing like the last level. This one, you kind of got warmed up to it, and it just felt rewarding when you beat it. It was a fun zone, and the music, again, phenomenal. The next one was Mystic Cave Zone. I ended up liking this zone a lot. I wrote in my notes here, this is my favorite theme apparently, or my second favorite theme. I played this game a few days ago, so I wrote down my notes here, but I am writing it here that this is my second favorite theme of the game so far. I wish I could remember it, which is so funny saying it's my second favorite theme, but I don't remember how it went, but I must have loved it because it says it right here that I loved it. I gotta listen to it again. Maybe I'll play it here in the video, but I know this zone was unique because of the whole Vine stuff. You would pull down levels and things doors would open and you would go through the door, through the little openings and all that stuff. Pretty simple design, but it was beautiful to look at, very aesthetically pleasing. And it was again, just a fun zone. This one was unique though, because I don't know if there's a second act to this zone, because once you get towards the second act, I guess, quote unquote, you pull down a level and you go down or something, and you end up in a whole completely different level. And I guess this will bleed into the next zone, which was Hidden Zone, because yeah, that's exactly what happened. I just fell down and went straight to another level. And this zone, I loved it. I don't know, it was awesome. At first I was confused and I thought maybe I messed something up and I'm gonna have to play this zone and then go back to Mystic Cave, but that wasn't the case. It says own zone, and then after this zone you go straight to the next one. But this zone in particular, again, the music was so good. This one I do remember it, and I'm dude, what is happening? This game has so much to it. I don't know if this and I didn't go back. Once I beat the game, I kind of beat the game. I don't know if there's another act to Mystic Ruins, but I don't care, because the way this flowed from Mystic Ruin to Hidden Zone, it just felt really cool, really, really cool. I don't know, it felt like I was playing a story game. It was story through visuals. Oh man, we're in this cave and we go through this hidden little area that it's the Goonies, it was just really cool. It was just really, really cool, and I just wasn't expecting what transpired. But it was really cool. I just remember loving the theme a lot, loving the zone a lot. I thought it was aesthetically pleasing, like I've been saying throughout the whole video. I love the T-Rex enemy. It was so adorable, but then it started spewing Satan's fire, and it was oh god, okay, I guess I gotta kill you now. It was also my favorite boss fight in the game because it was just so easy, but in a fun way. I love that Eggman had a trumpet, and he would just throw things down, and then you had to just make sure you duck and fade and stuff until I guess the spike will go up and hit his egg carry or whatever. It was just a fun zone, and this was another one where Tails was just I'm gonna help you out, brother, and he was just going off. But I just love the flow. I don't know if these two zones go together hand in hand. I'm assuming they do, because one just led right into the other. But because of how they went about it, I loved it. I just thought it was really, really good. Oil Ocean Zone. All right, so this was the first not favorite zone of mine, and it's a mix of both the difficulty, right, because obviously zones are getting difficult, but overall just how the zone was laid out. I just wasn't a big fan of it. There was a few moments where I was just completely lost. There's a part where you can go down to, I guess, where like the oil or whatever it is, and I got so lost. I thought you just had to keep going straight, so I was even going like underneath the level and coming back up. Like, it was really weird. I don't know, I thought I was like glitching through the game or something, but I just kept dying at a certain point, and I realized like I don't think I'm supposed to go here. And lo and behold, I was not supposed to go through under the level, duh. But even like the top part of the level had some shitty mechanics that I wasn't a big fan of. I just got lost. It felt like a level that wasn't like go straight. There was certain things that kind of threw me for a loop that I don't know, I couldn't get the grasp of it. The music also didn't stand out too much for me in that zone as well. And the enemy placements were pretty rough. So overall, it was like, I don't know, the difficulty was perfectly fine, and then here they were kind of like, we're gonna ramp it up a bit, which again, completely fair, but it was just so abrupt. And again, I was a little lost in the sauce. It did look like Spring Yard Zone from Sonic 1, which was cool. I don't know if it was like something similar, maybe not, but I thought the level looked kind of cool. It kind of reminded me of like Spring Yard, but also reminded me of Sonic 06 with the Flame City level. I can't remember the name right now. But overall, it was not my favorite zone. I remember truly hating the boss fight here. I was not a fan of it because it was another one of those fights I was mentioning before, where it's a, you go, I go kind of like boss fight. Like it just sucked. I remember being really upset with this one because basically Eggman's like in a submarine. He'll come up, he'll throw like an arm, and then he'll like have this little like pea shooter thing that'll try to shoot you, which all easy to dodge and stuff. But then when he would stop that, you got to go down there and hit him. And usually you can only get like one good hit in because like if you try to go for a second one, you might get hurt yourself, and then the rings fly everywhere, and you have to hope to God that you get a ring back so you don't die in one shot. But it just felt like the boss took forever, and I was losing a lot of patience because I was trying to just go down there and hit him like once to like twice, 3 times or whatever, and I couldn't do it. So I just kept dying, and I realized like, okay, I can't like brute force this boss. Maybe there's a speedrunner who knows how to, but me, myself, I am not having a good time trying to. So I'm just gonna have to do it the old fashioned way. Just hit him, go back up, wait, hit him, go back up, wait. It dragged a lot. And overall, like the level, the boss, the zone, everything, just not a big fan of it. I ended up really not liking it that much, and I got a little concerned because I know, again, old school games, they have cheap mechanics towards the end because they want you to feel like that difficulty is justified, right, or earned or whatever, or like beating the game is earned. And that's, again, I understand, I've beaten my fair share of old school games, but I just didn't like how this level was. I don't know, I know some fans like this one. They pointed out a lot like, oh, this is a really cool, aesthetically pleasing zone and just a cool zone in general. I just wasn't a big fan. So I was ready to go into the next one. Thankfully, Metropolis Zone was awesome. Another really difficult zone, but I ended up liking this one a lot because, again, it felt like it was progressing naturally, and I wasn't super lost in it. There was a few things that got me really aggravated, specifically the enemies here. They sucked, man. There's one that's like a grasshopper that he threw his I guess I don't know, not fangs, I don't know, the swords from his hands. He would throw them at you, but sometimes even if you were like to go towards him, you would still get hit. I didn't like I don't know, the hitbox was weird. I don't know how to explain it, but not a fan of that enemy at all. Then there was another enemy. It was like a crab that will like launch his arms forward. It kind of reminded me of like Min Min from Super Smash Brothers. I don't know. It was just really like difficult with the enemy placements, which again, I know I was getting towards the end game here, so things were gonna get difficult, but the pacing of the zone was a lot better than the last zone, that's for sure. And the music was funny because at first I didn't like it. I was like, what the hell am I listening to? But as the song progressed, it got so much better to the point where I was like, okay, Sega, I see you cooking right now. And that's, it ended up getting being good overall. Not my favorite music at all in the game, but still better than what I thought. Because at first I was like, oh man, what the hell are they doing here? Had some of that old twang that you would hear in some of those old school games. But it was overall like a pretty good zone, a pretty challenging zone. There was a point where I passed the checkpoint or a save point, and I was like, all right, let me speed dash, because it looked like it was an open available spot, and I just like zoomed right off. So a lot of moments where it's like, yeah, instant death, where you couldn't really like speed right away. Like you definitely wanted to make sure things were safe. And I think that's kind of like what they did with these old school Sonic games. Like when the difficulty needed to be ramped up a bit, they just took some of that speed aspect away from you and added a lot more platforming, which makes sense. I think that's why I ended up liking the feel of this one better than like Sonic 1, because they did that to you right away with Marble Zone. Here, it kind of was like progressing that way, where it's like, oh, speed, we're gonna slow down a bit, and now we legit need to make sure you got hops, right? And that's kind of what the zone did. Enemy placements, again, they were pretty rough, and I did not like the enemies at all, because I felt like some of them were a little cheap, and some of them were really placed like in some fucked up spots. But overall, like, I ended up liking this zone quite a bit. The boss was funny with this one because it was like Eggman with bubbles wrapped, like, going around him and stuff. It almost reminded me of like Naruto's Shadow Clone Jutsu or whatever, because he would like have bubbles, and then one bubble will turn into like another Eggman. You had to hit the Eggman so that he will lose that bubble forever. Pretty fun boss. This one I actually liked. I actually ended up liking the boss fight for it. I just thought it was funny. Tails, again, was on this one specifically, was like, "You're my bitch," and that's kind of what he did. He was just bitching him up. But overall, pretty good zone. I didn't feel like, you know, cheated by it or anything like that. I didn't die much in it either. Pretty good overall zone. The next zone was funny because it was it's called Sky Chase Zone, and this one you're basically on Tails's Tornado, which is I guess making its debut here. It was a little out there. The music was good, but it was definitely out there. Like I wasn't expecting a level where, you know, you're like jumping and it felt like I could have jumped off, you know, the ship, but that wasn't the case. Like, he would follow me wherever I went, you know, the tornado. It was an easy level, nothing too difficult about it. It was definitely like a nice pace breaker. Like, it was just like, oh, that was pretty challenging, right, with Metropolis. Well, here's a nice, pretty chill zone, and the music felt that way. It felt very lovely. This zone didn't have a boss, I believe. It just led you right into the next zone, but this was a very easy overall level that I felt like was just like a get ready for the finale here. Wing Fortress Zone. Now this one's funny. So where we're at here with Sonic 2 is where I lost my shit. So Wing Fortress Zone, I think this is the worst level in the game. I hated this one more than the oil level here. I hated it because I got so lost. I didn't know what exactly. I kept finding myself going back in a loop. Like, I would go straight and somehow end up right back at the beginning of the stage, and I was like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? And you're supposed to like climb up the ship and then make a right and then go down and then make a left and then be blown off, but then like land into these platforms to then go back forward. It was like, it threw me off, and I got so lost and so confused, because it wasn't like a hard level or anything like that. I just didn't know where the hell I was supposed to go. And I felt like the game, you know, it's an old school game, so obviously there's no map or anything like that or any indication like where to go. You just have to figure it out, which is fair. But I was like super lost in this one. And I wrote it down here in my notes. Hated the level. I hated the level. I didn't even write anything about the music, and I can't remember the music right now to give you an opinion on it. But I do remember being upset here. I just was lost and was like, oh man, what a crappy level, because this ended up being the final level of the game. And I was like, what a crappy level to be the final level. I would have preferred it to be Metropolis and then maybe that Sky Zone level and then going into what would be the final boss. The final boss. So this is where we're going to talk about Def Egg Zone. All right, let's do it. Def Egg Zone, right? Yeah. Oh my god. So okay, this boss fight, oh my god, I hated this. And okay, so I don't even know where to put my words here. Def Egg Zone has to be one of the worst final boss fights I've ever endured. And, you know, I know right off the bat people are going to be like, well, get good, scrub. But there's like the number one reason why this boss fight sucks is because it's two phases. There is a Dollar General Sonic, Metal Sonic on it, and then there's the actual Def Robot. So you first fight Metal Sonic and you go in there and you don't have any rings. You don't have rings for the whole boss fight, for both the first part of the boss fight and the second. So off the bat, you can't get touched once. And that shit threw me off so bad. I was like, dude, okay, like, I guess it was a trial and error boss. It was like a Dark Souls boss in a Sonic game. But even Dark Souls would give you a couple of hits to kind of figure out what to do. This one, there was none of that. You just died. You just died, and you go back and you do it again, and you die, and you just keep doing it over and over again until you master it. And that's just the first half of the boss fight, because you fight, like I said, this Metal Sonic reject here that like has 4 different moves, one of them being really annoying because he would like go up then down, and you know, his like spikes would also explode, so you have to dodge him but also dodge the spikes. And I got so frustrated here because I couldn't get the timing right whatsoever. Eventually I did, and I then learned, okay, there's a second phase to this boss fight, which is Eggman. Usually the Eggman fights have been so easy, but this fight, I don't know what, I still don't really know what exactly you were supposed to do during that fight, even though I beat it, because basically Eggman goes into this big egg robot, right, which is like, you've seen this egg robot before, like specifically in Sonic Generations is what I'm thinking about right now. And you know, he only has one move. He only has one move where he basically, well, he has 2. He aims at you, he goes up, and then you have to like make sure you dodge him, right? You run away when he lands back down. And then he throws his arms at you, his hands. That's it. That's all he has. But for whatever reason, you can't hit him unless he's in a specific stance, or right after he lands, he kind of leans forward like Michael Jackson, and you have to kind of then give him the tap on the top. But even that has to be perfect. And the thing is, I didn't know that when I first fought the boss. So basically, I would beat the Metal Sonic reject and then get to Eggman and then try to hit him and die immediately, and then have to do the Metal Sonic boss again. This is the part where my girlfriend was like, oh my god, are you okay? Because I was so pissed. I was so upset. I was like, dude, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? You know, shout outs to YouTube, because I actually had to look up a YouTube video because I thought maybe my game was glitched. I couldn't hit him. And one of the YouTube videos I watched, basically the comments were all like that. People were just like, oh, this is pain. Oh my god, imagine not having infinite lives. Oh my god, this gave me like Vietnam War flashbacks. So I knew I wasn't like in the minority here. I knew that this boss has done major damage to the Sonic community. So what I learned was basically you only could hit him, or maybe there's other moments, but the one that the guy was recommending on the YouTube was like, when he leans forward, hit him. Once you do hit him once, get the hell out of there, and just do that over and over again. And mind you, this boss took 12 hits. So you had to do that perfectly 12 times. Of course, I failed multiple times and had to go back and do that Metal Sonic boss again. So I was so pissed, dude. I was so mad, but I will say it did give me that euphoric feeling when I finally did it. Like I literally put my fist in the air and was like, fuck yeah. And my girlfriend was happy because I felt bad for her. She was watching me play. She's like, oh, you almost got it. Oh, go back. You know, like she was like invested with me. And I was like, dude, this shit sucks ass. But thankfully I persevered and I beat him. And then it's like an automatic moment where, you know, Sonic goes to the side, he jumps off the aircraft, and that's the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Well, that's what I thought was the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, because once I beat the game, Eggman's like, nice try, you failed. And then the cutscene afterwards was the egg ship or whatever, egg carrier, landing on the planet and exploding it. So really sad ending. I ended up finding out, and this is something I didn't do for my last for Sonic 1 either, was do the special zones. I did some of them, but you basically have to do them in order to get the Chaos Emeralds, so you can be Super Sonic and I guess like either get the true ending or whatever. I didn't do that for Sonic 1, and I didn't do it here for Sonic 2. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't care enough. You know, obviously, like if you want to get like the better ending, and I don't know if there's like a secret boss fight with that too, but I didn't care enough too much for it, because at the end of the day, it's just, I think it was just like whatever. Like I played some of the secret levels, the super levels or whatever. I wasn't a fan of how they worked. And, you know, the idea of like having to get a certain amount of rings in order to get those Chaos Emeralds, I just couldn't care enough. So I guess, you know, if there's one thing you can come at me for, it's definitely that. I did not care enough to get the Chaos Emeralds. I will not be doing that for the 3D Sonic games. I will be getting the proper endings for it. But for these 2D Sonic games, I just want to play through the game. I didn't want to like go back into them and, you know, find secret things so I can get Super Sonic and get a happier ending. I just couldn't find the care for it. But what I do care about, and we'll go right now to the game here, is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I ended up loving this game, man. This game was awesome. I feel bad because I made that video about Sonic 1, and again, it got well received and all that, and I really love that, and I appreciate you guys who watched the video. But I felt bad, like, again, as a gamer, because, like, man, as somebody who really loves the Blue Blur, I really did not like that original game. But I'm happy that a lot of people, you know, agreed with me that the game didn't age well, and they all, you know, kindly recommended play Sonic 2. They weren't telling me like, oh, you're an idiot if that's the only one you're gonna give a chance to. No, not at all. Everyone was super nice and basically was like, play Sonic 2, give that one a chance. I think you're gonna like that one more. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a phenomenal game. The music is better, the aesthetics is better, the pacing of the levels are a lot better, the levels in general are a lot better. It also felt way more streamlined, like faster to play through the game. The only levels I didn't like here was the oil zone and the fortress zone. I think they both were like not great zones, especially the fortress zone. And the final boss, I mean, damn, what a cheap way to end your game. But I persevered and I did it, and I saw those end credits, and I was happy, man. I felt satisfied. And overall, like, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 just blows Sonic the Hedgehog 1 out of the water. And it was such a good time that I know that I want to try the other two Sonic games, Sonic CD and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So I will be checking those two out as well. So if you like this video, if you made it all the way here, by the way, according to my thing here, it's 39 minutes. This is going to be the longest YouTube video I've ever made. But if you made it this far, give the video a subscribe and follow me to the next couple games here, because I will be checking out Sonic CD and Sonic 3. And, you know, just, I'm going to say it again. This game did a lot for me. This game let me know that I'm not the fakest of Sonic fans, although not getting the Chaos Emeralds might beg to differ. But playing this game and enjoying it the way I did really made me excited, and I'm really excited to try the other Sonic games. And that's something that I was hoping Sonic 1 would do for me, which it didn't. It made me just kind of never want to touch old 2D Sonic again. But thank God, you know, for the people who reached out to me and the people who commented on my posts and stuff, telling me like, hey, love the video, try Sonic 2. Thanks to you guys, because now I can say I beat Sonic 1 and 2, and I can confidently say that Sonic 2 is an overall better game. And not only that, I can actually recommend this game with a straight face. Sonic 2 is the best 2D Sonic game I've played so far, and it competes with Mania. Mania obviously has like a lot of things going for it, because it is a game that's made after all the Sonic games were made, so it can like kind of take the best parts of it and be even better. But for what Sonic 2 is and the time that it came out in, I think this is like the best one personally, and I totally see myself playing it again eventually. Maybe I'll go back for those Chaos Emeralds. I'm not 100% sure, but it just makes me excited to play more old school Sonic. And I think that's why this ended up being the genre defining game, right? The game that made Sonic a household name, because I'm assuming a lot of other people felt the same way. They played this game and they're like, I want to play this game for the rest of my life. And I want to keep playing it. I want to keep playing this franchise, support Sega with the Blue Blur. And to that, I have to give Sega and just Sonic the Hedgehog 2 its biggest kudos. It's a phenomenal game, guys. And if you watched my last video and were thrown off by Sonic 1, do what I did. Try Sonic the Hedgehog 2, because it's so much better. I'm a little nervous because, you know, like, I hope Sonic CD and Sonic 3 can hold up just as well as this game. The next one is going to be Sonic CD, so get ready for that video, and hopefully that's a fun time. But at least I can say that Sonic 2 is a phenomenal video game, and I was completely wrong about not liking 2D Sonic, because there is love for it there, at least on my end. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you did, again, longest video I've ever made. I feel like a real YouTuber now. I pop my YouTube cherry when it comes to a long formatted video, I guess. But I hope you enjoyed this. This was all non-scripted, so hopefully I didn't sound like a blubbering idiot. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.